Oh, okay. Girl. Hi, I'm Omari.
And I'm Eddie.
And we are
The two voices of the week.
Start Natives.
Our culture unfiltered. Disgusting the weight of this well. And the next.
Two voices.
Two voices.
Queer.
Queer.
Candid.
Candy.
Discussing the way of this world and the next.
Discussing the ways of this world and the next. Discussing the ways of this world
Candid.
and the next.
Discussing the way of this world and the next.
Discussing the ways of this world and the next.
Wait, now who making it?
I don't know.
Bitch, you can't be. I'll cut that part out. Whatever the fuck you just said, bitch. That didn't happen.
Anyways, how y'all doing?
What's up, y'all? So today is actually going to be our first
Movie review
of a movie.
You know, yes, because of course, why not do a movie review when we know about film and stuff like that? So hello.
So the movie we chose to do is
This one right here.
that movie though. CuTiES.
That was cute. You know, I would call it by the actual name of it, the foreign language, but it's French and I do not know.
I mean, we could Google translate it, but you know,
Yeah.
whatever. So it's a film about an 11-year-old Senegalese little girl in France. And she's kind of an outcast, I guess, if you know, if you want to go by that label.
Yeah, true.
And she meets these other little girls who are a little more free-spirited. And they wear like skimpier clothes. And the little Senegalese girl, her name is Amy.
Yeah, Amy. Yeah, that is true.
Amy. And she lived with her mother and her little brother.
And I think her aunt too.
I don't know
Or
if her
grandma or
actually
something.
like
I don't
lives
know.
there though.
Yeah, true. I think she's like part of the.
Yeah, but she does.
Yeah.
Whatever. And they are a very religious family, which is strange because I don't necessarily know what the religion is.
Muslim.
Is it? Okay.
Well, Islam.
It's interesting because the movie kind of starts with talking about like what a woman's duties are to her husband
in their culture.
Yeah, and it kind of lets you know that it's kind of like foreshadowing because they do talk about like a woman wearing like whorish clothes and stuff like that, like the skimpy girls who wear like the whorish clothes or whatever like that. So then Amy ends up meeting like another little girl, which I don't remember her name.
Angelique.
Oh, Angelica.
Yeah,
Angelica. Her name's Angelica. And she, you know, the little girl wears like little midriffs or little tight pants and stuff like that. And she's a part of a little dance crew with her other little friends. And the girls, they're so young, y'all. They really are like 11, 12, maybe 11 and 12. I think that's like the oldest. The oldest is probably like 12. But they're just chilling, kicking it, dancing kind of provocatively, you know, if you see it that kind of way. And the whole issue with the movie is that people had an issue with how they felt it was sexualizing children.
Yeah.
And watching the film, I understand what people's concerns were. But then I also think people were overreacting like they often do, especially online.
Yeah, they were.
But I do see where it was like pedophile bait though.
True.
Because it
was
the way they shot it, like some of the shots were very close up on the little girls when they were dancing. I was just like,
it's a little bit too much.
Yeah,
it's like too much in your face, too much. Because I noticed and I'm like, and I felt a little bit disgusted by it. Like I was watching the movie and I'm trying to go with the story and understand what's going on in this character's life and you know the choices that they're making and going through the situation. But those shots, those close-ups and the way that the cinematography was done in there and looking at these young girls, it
really became a lot because I was like, damn, it was so much that it almost felt like, damn, bitch, this is a long ass scene. Like they dance, all they doing is dancing, but it's the way they're dancing. Like they got their finger in their mouth like this, and it's just like so it makes it so much more sensual and more sexual than it needs to be.
And it's like the exploitation of sexual, you know, that in children's that it shouldn't be like we shouldn't be doing that with children's, but.
By the way, I guess spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler.
I guess
I'm sorry.
I guess that's spoiler alert. Like that's,
yeah.
That's something you should probably look out for. We're going to talk about the full movie, so yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't like it was very weird me seeing those type of moments. Like I kind of understood what the director was going for in those scenes, and in those moments. And I think if the director was going to wanting you to feel disgusted by it, feel uncomfortable watching that, then she did that.
Yeah.
She really did that.
I was like, oh, girl, this is too much.
Because she really did. But I also like, because when I was listening to people like talking about it and everything, at first I was like, nah, I'm not going to pay attention to this. But then later on, it's like I saw something else, and what made me actually look into it was because of the comparing Dance Mom with the movie, and comparing the culture, and how Americans are.
Right.
So I decided, you know what, let me go, and I'm like, you know what, let me go on Netflix, and I'm going on Netflix, and lo and behold, right there it was. So I'm like, perfect. But then I noticed that they had the director's commentary. So I decided to watch that.
Oh, so that's on Netflix?
Yeah.
I didn't even see
and that's like part of the CuTiES.
Oh, I might go back and watch that. I didn't see that.
And I like one thing that she said, that this movie is a mirror to what society is now. And because of that, I'm like, that specific thing that she said, it actually does.
Because it provides a context to why the movie is the way it is.
Yeah,
and why they're doing what they're doing.
It actually emphasizes on that. Like, it really does emphasize that part of the movie. And it's like, yeah, you did that.
I think, and it's crazy because the thing is, like any movie, once you get past like the surface stuff, once you get past like the provocative parts of it, where it's like, oh, these little girls are wearing these skimpy clothes, once you get past that part and kind of look at the story, you see that it's really a story about like sex, but like also like sex as a weapon, like sex as power. Because what's interesting is that I think the inciting incident for Amy was when she was hiding under the bed, and her mom was talking on the phone with somebody. Basically, her mom was calling everybody, telling them that her husband has taken a second wife, and trying to sound, upbeat about it, and trying to be like, oh yeah, he's taking another wife, and da-da-da-da. But then when,
she hung up the phone.
She hung up the phone and she started crying, and then you have Amy under the bed, like hearing her mom be hurt by this. I feel like that was a part of like the inciting incident of Amy kind of not wanting to be a part of that. Yeah. Because after that, she kind of started to be more...
She started to rebel a little bit more.
Right.
She started to be rebellious to what was going on, because she really didn't like that. Not only that, but she actually was really sad because of how her mom was reacting, where she lied about, oh, the phone disconnected and everything. And before she lied, she was actually crying and hitting herself.
Yeah.
So that was a very impactful thing to Amy, and she didn't see that, but she was listening and see her.
She knew what was happening.
She knew what was happening, so it really, it made an impact on her to the point where she rebelled.
You know what's a really interesting thing about the movie? We never see her father.
So that guy that came to
that's not her dad.
That was not her dad?
He was like working on stuff. Okay. But that's not her dad. That is true. We never see him. We heard him because he was on the phone. And it's funny because like when Amy was talking to her dad on the phone, her mom brought her, and this is like after Amy kind of
done so many things.
Person, she just threw the phone out the window.
I know. I'm like, bitch.
But Amy, what's interesting about Amy, like, it's also like a story about peer pressure. Peer pressure is huge. I don't know if anybody remembers the movie 13. And it had Evan Rachel Woods in it, and it had Vanessa Ann Hudgens in it. And it was a movie like that where you always have that one person who isn't very outgoing, who's like the outcast, and who's a little more shy, not as, aggressive as the group that they try to get into. And then you get into this group, and you become more aggressive than the people who you got into the group with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you kind of take it too far, so much so that the people that you were trying to be like, they're like, wait, you're doing too much. And that's what happened with Amy in this film. It's like she started going hard. Like she was showing out. She stabbed this boy in his hand. She sent a picture of her cuckoo
At one point, yeah.
Like she sent a picture of her stuff and uploaded it online, and the girls
And
were
she
mad
didn't
because they're
care.
like, y'all, you're getting people to look at us crazy.
And she hit that girl, and
She
she
hit
wanted
the-
to,
yeah.
at
Yeah,
the
she jumped on the
school.
girl. Yep.
She also started dancing to be able to get away from this security guards for this laser tag situation. So she rebelled to a point where her friends were at a 50, she was at 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how
it's
much.
like, damn, bitch.
Yeah.
You supposed to, we was at 50. I know it seemed like we was at 100, but we was at 50. And you just done took it so
to
far.
extra. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like the little girls, they have like this little dance crew. You know, they wanted to be dancers.
True. And mainly Angelica.
Angelica, yeah.
Because mainly Angelica was the one that wanted to do
leader.
more. Because there's a really good friend. There's a friendship that they developed between Amy and Angelica. And then Angelica tells her certain things of what's going on between her and her family, and how she used to see them, but then later on she didn't, and then how they perceive her and how they see her and things like that. So that also made it a little bit of an impact on Amy.
Yeah.
So where Amy wanted to show her that, no, you are better.
Yeah. Because even Angelica was acting out. Like, truthfully, when you really look at it, the girls, they were about all fitting in, and it was about rebellion, you know? And it's crazy because, like, at the beginning of the movie, they essentially encouraged Amy to go and take a picture of one of the boys dingling and like was in the bathroom.
And she tried.
She tried to. And it's just, that's all the girls cared about. Like all they cared about was like boys and dancing and just like mischief, which every fucking child cares about for the most part.
And that was a little bit strange too when these boys come to them and they are like, oh, you know, I'm here, blah blah blah, you know, like they're flirting and try to flirt with them and everything. And then one of the boys asks her, how old are you? Or how old are you guys and everything? And Amy goes into 11. And they're like, oh, wait, oh, yeah. And then the other one of them is like, no, but you're like, you know, I know math and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's like, I know all my multiplication.
Yeah.
It's like, girl,
I'm like, no, that's not what it is.
But it kind of makes me think about, like, you know, as someone who was formerly a child or formerly a teenager, you think you are ready for things, and then you realize that you're not. And it's much easier to say that you're ready for something than it is to actually engage in it. And it actually makes you think about the movie American Beauty.
Oh, yes.
Where you had the best friend who seemed like, you know, the really free-spirited one who liked to have sex. She always talking about sex. She always talking about sucking dick and all this stuff. But then you find out at the end of the movie that she was a virgin. And she was just talking shit. Like, she was just popping shit. And her whole persona that she had was not even her. You know? And people think that stuff stops with children, but it doesn't. Like, that's something that carries on through life. Like, that's why I say high school never ends. Like, everybody is like that. Like, people are always creating this image for people to engage with, you know? And it's crazy to see, like, Amy become the kind of girl that she became. And but you understand why.
Yeah, because I understood why. At some points, I was a little bit confused on why she became so extreme. But then I also understood why she was coming from, because she's coming from a religion or a family that is very into religion and very conservative and very strict, to the point where it's like so many restrictions that you have in life that make you rebel to a very extreme way. Even like that part that she is kind of like in this moment where they're like praying and things like that, and she sees that everybody is like praying, and she used her culture to kind of like to hide herself, and she hides, and then she keeps continue watching the videos, and they don't realize that what she was doing, because they think that she's being part of the community, part of doing the religious thing, but she's just watching videos, adult grown-ass women dancing all naked and everything. And that's why, because of those videos, then she creates this dance move and this very sexual move and flirtatious move. and teach the other girls, so in that way they can become better,
Yeah.
because she feels that is part of what is being looked for
Yeah.
on these dance groups, especially because of the competition that they have, like that girl,
and she wanted so
group.
badly to be a part of the crew, to be on the dance team.
Yeah.
You know, it's a couple of things that kind of got me. One was once she got on her period.
Mm-hmm.
That was a changing point for her too, because she
and how they were telling her, oh, now you're a woman.
Right. She went to, so she was supposed to be getting food ready for her dad's wedding, his second wedding. And she ended up disappearing from her aunt. And she went to the rehearsal because the other little girls were dancing at the rehearsal, whatever. And she ended up not going in.
No, they were dancing for it to be accepted on.
Not the rehearsal, the audition. That's what it is. The audition. And she ended up not going or whatever. And then when she came home, and her aunt was like, well, where'd you go? What happened to you? And she was bleeding. And it was strange the way the movie kind of got a little surreal, because there was a dress that her grandma gave her. That her mom gave her.
Yeah, the dress that they needed to
And the dress was bleeding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was before she actually saw that she was on her period.
Yeah, on her period.
And it was just like, because I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, because that part was perfect. Because I thought that it's because
surreal situation
I thought
into something that didn't seem like that. Like the movie was not surreal up until that happened.
Yeah, true.
Up until that happened, and then like the end.
True,
was
it
like
was
jumping.
never. Yeah, it was never surreal, because I don't remember seeing that or something like that.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the beginning.
It did, and it just kind of like got that way. It was, I don't know, that was odd to me. Mm-hmm. But I understand it, because it was kind of saying something else, especially like when like at the end where the dress was, like the air was going into the dress. It was like the dress was taking its own life.
Yeah.
Even when she was looking at the dress and it looked like the dress was filling out, like it had like boobs and all this stuff. That was interesting. But yeah, so she got her period, and then her mom came and said, "You're a woman now." And even like when her aunt came to her and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to teach you how to be a woman," which was essentially her chopping up a shitload of onions,
cooking and doing all these things
and all that stuff, because that's what they equated as being a woman, being of service and duty to your husband or to your man, and being okay with him taking other wives.
Even the aunt telling her that, you know, when I was a little younger girl like you know, I got presented, you know, I was my husband partner and whatnot, and then I was just like shown off to the people and everything, and like I was
as
surprised.
Like a thing.
Yeah, and it's like listening to those things, and it's like, damn. What I like about the movie is that even though it was so right there on your face, like making you uncomfortable and making you feel some type of way, it really, what it makes you is questioning, what are we doing? Are we actually paying attention to our children and our kids? Like, do we know that by letting these devices that we are letting them be in this moment, you know, are these things helping? Because the other part that was going is, she was dealing with social media culture. She was dealing with her own culture as the family dynamic and how they are as being Muslim and everything. And then you also being in France and knowing about liberty and all that stuff. So that's a different type of culture too. So trying to be able to fit into all that makes you get to a point where you want to rebel. It's showing that and making us question, what are we doing in our family dynamic? It
makes me think about like how America, you know, the way we are in America, we think that every country should be like that. And it makes you think about like how we go into other countries' spaces and think that our way is the way, and we try to change their culture. Because the thing is, the stuff that was happening in that film, while some of it is mirrored to America, like when Amy took a picture of her cuckoo.
Oh yeah.
She uploaded it. The next day at school, a boy slapped her on her butt.
Yeah.
She got mad at the boy, and then the teacher saw him like he slapped her butt like in front of everybody in class. And then the teacher's like, "What was that? Go to the office." Yeah, so it's not my fault. She uploaded pictures online of her. She uploaded new naked pictures. So then he's like,
kind
then
of
they kind of
defending
getting
the
into it.
situation.
Like he's
Yeah.
defending, like, oh, you have the right to do that because she uploaded those kind of pictures, which is something that travels all around the world with men believing that they are entitled to women's
To
body
do things like that.
because women present themselves a certain way.
Yeah.
You think if a woman walks around naked, you have the
right
to
just touch her and
take her body,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and to do stuff like that. And then next thing you know, like she gets home and her mom slaps her and her mom's like, what's going on with you? You steal from me, you da-da-da-da. And then they try to like throw holy water on her. And that was a strange thing because she started shaking as if she was like having
possessed,
like being exorcised. And then she started twerking too. It was,
to the point where the mom and the aunt, they were like, the fuck is going on?
What's going on with this girl? And it's just, I don't know, that's crazy. And it makes me think about, like, I watched Lovecraft Country. And there was the most recent episode they were in, it took place in China. And then they were talking about, you know, like the communists and all this stuff. Or whatever. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not China. That was on Korea. And they're talking about the communists and stuff like that. So then you have like the American soldiers that come over there, and when they get there, they're passing out these flyers to the Korean people saying, we're from America, we're not here to hurt you, we're here to help you, here to save you, da-da-da-da. But then the next scene, you see them like shooting people in their head, calling them communists and saying that they're doing this, that, and the other. And it's weird how you can hurt someone and then under the guise of helping them. And I noticed, truthfully, America does that a lot. America is a very invasive country. And if you ever pay attention to your American history, a lot of the stuff that we get into has nothing to do with us. It's because of what we want from other countries and what we feel we are entitled to. So we go and put our nose into situations and get tangled up with some shit. And then it kills our people, and it also kills other countries' people as well. So it makes me think about that. Like, it's just like, what the fuck is
going on?
Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
6 minutes. I think one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't give a chance to the movie is because of how the movie was marketed. We have to understand that this movie is a foreign film, that is not an American film. It was not done in America. And the children are not Americans. They are French. Even though they do have other cultures. Like, I believe that the little girl was actually... what was Senegalese. Even though even though I think that the director actually is from that country. So you have to understand that this film is different. It's shot differently. It's not like an American film and things like that. So that's another thing. There's a battle between that. They should have, even though they wanted to bring it into the American market, they still needed to use some of the elements from a French market. Like, the poster should stay the same. They shouldn't have changed it, because by that change, that's when people felt some type of way. Because
they look so skimpy.
Even though because of what's going on with pedophilia and everything like that. So that makes a problem. One thing that I have to say about America is, y'all did this to yourself. Y'all been doing this bullshit for so many years. Y'all have been letting this shit going on like nothing. And now y'all feel like this is wrong. Bitch, slap the hell out of yourself, okay? Because you did this to yourself. So now, take responsibility of that. Take accountability of your stupid shit that you have let be in this American market for Hollywoods and movies. And fix it.
Yeah, y'all been sexualizing children for years, bitch. Don't even act. You know, one thing that really got me? This is the part that got me. And it's like, whoa, the condom part. So there was a little girl. One of the girls in the group, she had a condom. I don't remember where she got the condom from, though.
I think, I want to say that she got it, like, from this, like, the park where they were at.
Like, it was just out there, like, open?
I feel like it was like that.
I don't think that was a used condom.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Anyway, the little girl had the condom. She blew up the condom. All the girls chilling or whatever like that. She blew up the condom and she was making it seem like it was a boob. Like, and she put it in her shirt. All of the other girls like recoiled and they ran away from her. And they were saying, that's nasty. What are you doing with that? That's a condom. They was like, condoms are used for people who have people with AIDS, like who have sex with people with AIDS. They didn't even see the condom as a form of protection. They saw the condom as something that you only use when somebody has HIV or AIDS. They saw it. They were like, "You're going to get cancer. You're going," and they were like picking on her. They were like, "You're going to get cancer." They were really legit scared of her and made her feel so bad
to the point where she was crying.
She was crying, and they washed out her mouth with soap because they were like, "You're disgusting." Like you,
not just her mouth, like her face and everything, because they were rubbing that soap and whatever she had in her hand to kind of clean, because she was like going on like that. And it's like, damn.
And they were doing it just because it was a condom, not because of it being a used condom or whatever. They were saying because it's a condom, period. Because they saw condoms as something that you only use if you're trying to
have sex with somebody
who is already sick. And that right there spoke volumes, because it's like, oh my God, these little girls could go and have sex with somebody and not use a condom. You know what I mean? Like, they'll get to a point where they don't use a condom because they think you're only supposed to use them if you're sick.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucked up. I was like, that's really fucked up. But it's I understand, because it's true. Some people do feel like that. Like, that's the ignorance of a child. That's where it's like, these kids want to do adult things, but they don't understand adult life.
Yeah, and it's not that they don't understand. It's just they're not educated. It's just, like the other reason why I also say that too is that you have to remember, they are all doing this type of dance and everything like that because of videos. Yeah, because it's not because they have an instructor. It's not because they go to a dance school or something like that, or they have somebody that actually sees the potential of them being dancers. So they want to educate them and teach them how to be a dancer. No, they just see videos. They just use social media and they see this thing. So they're like, you know what, let's do it. If these people that are on social media and getting famous because of so much social media, then why not me?
Right.
You know?
And then there was two things that happened where they snuck into like a laser tag park or whatever. And they snuck in, and then the security guard came and he was like, "Hey, you guys have to pay. Give me your parents' number so I can call them." And he grabbed one of the girls, and the girl's like, "Get your hand off of me, you pedophile, you child molester, da-da-da." And they started like calling him all these, very defamatory like names.
Yeah, to the point where they were being able to cuss his life in his job.
Like, that would cost you your reputation. So then like his boss comes in and he's like, "What's going on?" Yeah, so these kids, they snuck in. They snuck in without paying, and now they're trying to call me like some perv or something. And then the girl Amy, she starts dancing.
Well, technically, she doesn't start dancing right away.
Not like right away, but I mean,
but something happens. Yeah. I'm not giving too much spoilers, but something happens that then she makes, she used that moment to, we dancers, like, and then so she started dancing, and
because they found out they got into the competition at that moment.
Yeah, so by dancing, she used her body to seduce him, because she knows that if she dances, if she does all these things, that she will be able to get away with it.
Exactly.
Because that's what she has learned.
She wielded her sexual, like her femininity, power as like a weapon.
And then the thing is, when you actually see that, and when you have this camera like going again, making you feel comfortable, it's also showing that this other security guard that came in on the moment, as later on, the second one,
he was okay with it.
He was okay with it.
Like he did what a lot of perverted men do to
like
young
he
girls.
Was kind of like liking it. And you also notice that the other guy is like, "The fuck are you doing?"
Right, like, what are you doing? These little fucking girls. Like, are you crazy?
And so they leave and everything. And he's like, "No, seriously?" Like,
and then
that's the problem.
Exactly. And then after that, that's why it's like, people always trying to say, like when older people mess with younger kids and they're just like, "You're the adult." It's like, exactly, you are the adult.
You should know better.
That kid or that teenager may have come onto you, but you are the adult.
Like that moment. Yeah, like that moment where she does that to the guy that she
that's just what I was about to say. She stole a guy's phone. Like, there was a guy who was working on the new room for her dad and his new wife. And he was there, doing work or whatever in the house. And she ended up stealing his phone like earlier in the movie. And he found out later on in the movie that she stole his phone, and he took his phone back. And he's like, "What about, like, why are you giving my phone? Like, what are you doing?" And she started undressing and thinking that she could have what she wanted if she showed him her body. And he was like, "No, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's weird." So then she snatched the phone. She took the phone to the bathroom and took a picture of her cuckoo and uploaded it. She was definitely misguided. Like, that was,
she was misguided completely. And
it became a lot.
most kids that are in this situation is because of that, because they are misguided and people are not paying attention. Parents are not really paying attention. They're being oblivious. They don't really care. They do try to care, but it's like they are so busy with other situations that they forget that they have children, that they have kids that they need to look into and watch out that they are doing okay and that they're feeling okay and that they're being loved, and they're being educated correctly.
And it's interesting because once they actually did, so they end up doing the dance competition, right? Mm-hmm. And there was another girl, they stopped talking to the other girl because they were like talking to this boy online. Mm-hmm. And then the girl turned on the camera and the boy saw who it was. And the boy who they were talking to was the boy that they tried to take a picture of his thing in the bathroom.
Oh, really? Was it? I thought it was just a different boy.
No, it's the same boy.
Okay.
And so they got mad at that girl because she turned on the camera. Mm-hmm. And so then they end up stopping messing with her. So that's how Amy was able to get into the group kind of more. Where it's like, okay, you're going to be the next person. You're going to take her part. Mm-hmm. But then they stopped messing with Amy once Amy started creating a bad reputation for them. And then they brought the other girl back. So the day of the competition, Amy gets dressed and she pushes that girl into the river. And I guess she stood there long enough to make sure, okay, she ain't gonna die.
No, she was about to leave. She really was about to leave. And then she had a little bit of resentment over I made a mistake. And she's like, oh shit, she's not going to make it. Yeah. But then she saw that she made it. And then when she saw that she made it, it's like, okay, Mike.
She's like, all right, well, she ain't gonna die. Let me go. So then she ended up being able to dance for the girl in the competition. They don't know what happened to the other girl. They don't know Amy pushed her into the water. But what's crazy is when they performed and they started doing all of that, provocative dancing, the crowd started booing them. And they were kind of disgusted by it. At first they were like, oh, okay, cool. But then the girls started really getting very, into it.
Very seductive. Yeah. Not only that, but even the music changed to a point where it's really slow to the point where it was becoming very extreme.
It felt like getting a striptease from a child. That's the way it felt looking at it. And then you see the audience and they're just like, what the fuck?
Mainly the women. Yeah, mainly the women and ladies were the ones laugh. Yeah. And then you see most of the boys or guys that they were okay, they were pleased by this.
The guys of a man. That guys. And then Amy, something came over her where she realized that what she was doing was not okay. And she ran home. And you know what that makes you think about? Okay, Lars von Trier, he did a film called Nymphomaniac. There's 2 parts. It had Shia LaBeouf, and that was the one where they did the simulated sex scenes or whatever like that. So the movie is about a woman. She is a nymphomaniac, and she is taken in by this man, and she's telling the man about her story. The whole movie is her telling the man about her kind of being a nymphomaniac and kind of having this sexual urge and stuff like that. And it's interesting because the man sits the whole time. He seems like a well-to-do kind of guy. He doesn't seem bad or anything like that. He listens to her. He listens to her talk. But at the end of the second part, he finally shows his true ways of being a man and believing that he is entitled to a woman because that woman said that she is a sex addict. And he tries to make a pass on her. And I think she ends up shooting him or something. I think she kills him. At the end. But it's interesting the way he was able to sit there and pretend to not be a piece of shit, and then he ended up showing his true colors of being a piece of shit and trying to take advantage of her. And people got distracted by that movie. They got distracted by the simulated sex scenes, and they got distracted by the provocative parts of it. But when you really look at it and you look at the piece of it, it talks about this man being the way he is, but still acting because that's the thing, people think that straight guys can't be friends with straight women, platonic friends. And I even had a guy tell me one time, oh yeah, he didn't think I was gay. He thought I was pretending to be gay to get girls because he was a friend of his do that. Yeah, and I was that's crazy as fuck. It's that is predatory as fuck. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? And it just, with CuTiES, it's that kind of thing. It's you see these men, when the men do present themselves, a lot of them are pieces of shit. But then you have the ones who aren't, where he's just I just want my phone. You're a child. I'm not about to fuck with you. Even when they were talking to the boys are probably teenagers, and they were 11 or whatever, and they said, we're 11.
And they're like, oh no.
They're like, no, that's
no.
weird. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck with y'all. And even when they got on the thing with the boy on the computer, he was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, y'all are kids.
Yeah.
So it shows both sides.
It has both sides.
Yeah.
It really does have the both sides and everything. And it's just that. It's just a mirror into society and what, that we have to be careful. And I think that's the main thing of the movie. The main thing of the movie is just, it is intriguing. It's telling a story from beginning to middle and end. And it's giving a character arc. Yeah. But it's also making you uncomfortable. Yes. Because you need to check something about yourself. Yeah. And that's really what I like about movies. A movie that can make me uncomfortable, that make me realize something that I'm doing wrong, or to analyze things of what's going on in my surrounding, in my life, and make sure that am I doing things right? Am I doing things wrong?
Like, what is my contribution?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I actually liked the movie. And
yeah, I don't think it was a bad
Would
movie.
I see it again? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
I probably fast forward through a lot of parts.
Yeah.
Because I do see where the issue lies, where if there were like a pedophile and he came across that movie, I could see where the movie is unintentionally... It can become going to be something for him to feast upon.
Yeah, it's going to become like porn for him.
Yeah. And that's where, because of the way they shot it and the way the girls are dancing, it, depending on who you are, yes, it is going to be a certain type of film. I don't think that was the intent, but, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you may have intended to be a good thing, but that doesn't mean that's what people are going to see it as. But thankfully, we are able to look at it and kind of analyze it a little further where, we can kind of take the good parts and leave the other parts.
Pretty much.
Because there are parts that I was like, oh, that's funny, that's da-da-da-da-da, or, oh, that's interesting that they thought about it that way. But then there's other parts I was like, oh my God, this scene is too long, girl. I don't blame you if you don't want to watch it. That honestly.
Too. I don't.
Like, having seen it, I don't blame anybody for not wanting to watch it, but I think some people should keep their fucking opinions to themselves if they have not watched it.
And I think that I know that most of you guys are not wanting to watch it because this is wrong and everything, but at the same time, sometimes we need things like this to have a slap in our face. Yeah. Really, that's really what it was. It was a slap in the face, a wake-up call, and y'all need to pay attention a little bit more. Yeah. Oh, what's going on around your surroundings. Sorry that this was a little bit long, but it's our first, movie review.
No, but Sean apologizes to them.
So, do your daily saintly duties for following, subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing. I don't think I said that. No, that's not the right order. I don't think so.
Whatever, it's in the right order.
Anyway, just see that, you do that, and just do that, and whatever. Order. Okay.
Oh, y'all see Tony here. Tony chilling.
And then let's thank Omari's friend for giving us this beautiful thing, from Hawaii. So, and then little Tony. And what you need to tell them? What was that again? Oh, right? Okay. See, do what he said. Okay? Or she or him.
She
whatever.
Androgynous.
Yes. Anyways.
All that.
My name is Eddie.
And I'm Omari.
And we are the two voices of the week.
Start natives.
Our culture unfiltered. Discussing the way of this world.
And the next.
See you next week.
Bye.